On this week's show, Talking Toys, Robotech gets remixed, and was Adrian Veidt right? It's Previews World Weekly, and it's happening right now. What's up, Previews World? It's Wednesday. It's New Comic Book Day, which means it's time for Previews World Weekly. I am one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I'm Sabrina Spellman. And as usual, we're here every week to remind you guys to stop at a comic shop and get involved in what's happening in the world of comics. And if you're enjoying the show, if this is your first time or not, be sure to give us a like and follow to keep the nerd news coming.
So I realized a couple weeks had passed, and we never talked about the Birds of Prey movie, the trailer that dropped.
Yeah.
But Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman in the new Batman movie, which is actually kind of interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm actually okay with that. I guess the news dropped on Monday, and I typically hate the race bendy stuff. Like I just.
Oh yeah.
It's just my thing, I guess. But at the same time, it bugs me. It feels kind of lazy and like a little insulting on some level, to be honest. But I can't be a hypocrite. In this case, look, Eartha Kitt was Catwoman when I was a child.
Exactly.
So it doesn't bother me any. And we can pretend to not remember the Halle Berry movie, but it did happen. So
it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. So I'm okay with it. I'm down with it.
Cool.
I also want to see this Matt Reeves thing. Like, I don't know. Have you ever watched the Planet of the Apes movies? The most recent one? They're so good.
They are.
They're like excellent. Good. So yeah, him doing a Batman movie, I'm all for. I also wanted to point out that it is still Inktober.
Yes.
And it's Inktober all month long. And it's actually pretty cool because we kind of threw this out there like at the last minute to see if people would bite.
Yep.
And people have really like kind of attached themselves to it. And they're doing our prompt, and we'll have the prompt on screen for you guys to check out in case you have missed it so far. Mm-hmm. But we put up the prompt, and is it all 31 days, a different thing? You don't have to do all 31 days, of course. And some of you jumped on, and we got a really cool one from Laura Braga, who last week, you picked actually her book, Blossom 666, as one of your titles.
Yep.
So it was actually really cool that she decided to participate.
Absolutely. And
it was actually a bit of a surprise because I interviewed her months ago, and then out of the blue, she sent me an email last week and was like, hey, I did a thing. It's for robots, which was that day's prompt. And she sent me a still, and then on top of that, she sent us a video.
Yes.
So Laura said, go ahead and throw the video on the show, and I was like, hey, yeah, absolutely.
It's really cool. It's an in-process video, so you get to see start to finish how she does this drawing.
And I'm always convinced that artists are kind of like magicians because you see this process and the level of detail and just the imagination at play there. It's just so cool. Yeah. And if you are an artist, we'll put it on the show if you're a comic creator and you want to do something like this in the future. So stay tuned to that because we're going to show you the process video later in the show. But it's time for What's at Comic Shops.
Yeah.
So Anna-Mia is here and she's going to show you what's in comic shops this week. Then when we come back, we'll give you some of our picks. Spoiler alert, I picked X-Men.
Hey Previews World! Every week we give you the rundown of some of the books hitting the shelves for the first time. Here's what's at comic shops for the week of October 16th, 2019. And we're just getting started. The world of comics has even more to offer, so stop at a shop already, and you might just find your new favorite thing. See ya!
And that's just some of the titles available at your local comic shop this week. If you're looking for more, and there's tons more, head on over to PREVIEWSworld.com/new releases this week and every week to find out what's hitting your local comic shop. But more importantly, I think it's important, what are you reading this week, Thea?
So I've talked about this book many times on the show. This is like my X-Men, I suppose.
Yeah, right. We all have our X-Men.
Yeah, so Gogor, of course. This is the trade.
Oh,
so
okay,
this is collecting the issues that exist right now, which is 1 through 5. And we're not actually sure if it's going to continue, and we hope it does.
Yeah.
Because it is a great story. It's very, very fun, very wholesome, very old school adventure.
Nice.
And it's about this young guy who lives on the floating islands of Altera. And he becomes embroiled in waking a sleeping giant to help save the world from an encroaching army of baddies.
Okay.
And there's a lot of magic and fun characters, and the artwork is gorgeous. I mean, Ken Gehring knocked this out of the park with this, so like, pick it up, guys.
Yeah, no, I love it's very colorful.
It's
like, which I
super
love about it.
colorful,
Like, I was just talking to somebody the other day about like the importance of just like letting the visual speak for it. It's a visual medium,
It is.
and like, you know, sometimes cluttering things up with words defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's actually really cool that like that book is just like pops off the shelf as soon as you see it.
Seriously.
This week, I already spoiled it, but I'm picking X-Men #1. I first of all, humble brag, not so humble brag. I got X-Men #1 early, so I got to read it like last night.
Mr. Fancy Pants.
But you know, we're coming off the heels of House of X and Powers of X. Pretty interesting conclusion to the last 2 parts of this like Jonathan Hickman ongoing saga, I'll call it at this point. But it was interesting, like the week afterwards, I saw a lot of people, like the criticisms are starting to pop in now. Like people getting a little, not salty, but people like, this doesn't make sense.
They're
I don't like
having
this. I don't like.
opinions.
They're having opinions. Which, I mean, it took 12 weeks
For them to be
of just
having
positive feedback.
their Jimmies rustled.
Exactly, right. I actually hate that term. Jimmy's rustled. My brain goes
Rustle
somewhere
my
awful.
Jimmies. Yeah, fair.
Fair enough. But this is kicking off the Dawn of X storyline that's like going to like you know, contaminate every X book for the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
Me personally, I'm just going to read the Hickman books, and if I'm curious about what happens in the other books based off of what I read in the Hickman books,
Maybe.
I'll probably pick up the other ones later on. But it's really cool because something that I don't know if I mentioned this on the show, but I've mentioned this to some other people before. The cover to X-Men #1 is mostly all the Summers family. So it's
Cool.
Cable, it's Rachel Summers, it's Jean Grey, it's Corsair, his dad, like it's Scott Summers, and like it looks like it's going to be about a team of Scott's extended family.
Neat.
Which, if you're a longtime reader of the X-Men books, is kind of like this dangling plot thread that doesn't really always come together. Like Cyclops is kind of like he's the connective tissue for all these characters, but you know, we get little bits here and there of like him with his son Cable and all this other stuff, but we never really get like something juicy like in regard to like their entire family dynamic. So, and also I had mentioned this before, and we saw this in House of X and Powers of X, Cyclops kind of a little bit different now.
Yeah,
like
you were saying.
Yeah, the framework that they put this story in, like, and like, it kind of changes his perspective on a lot of things. It's a little looser, a little cockier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Sassy man.
Sassy man, yeah. And like, I mean, but he's also kind of secure in who he is, which has always been Cyclops' things, right? You know, he's never been secure about who he was.
Right.
So it's cool. I like it. And I know some people are kind of concerned about the direction of it because it messes with continuity. But, you know, it's still the first act. That's what I had to explain to some people. It's still the first act. Book's still going on. So just let it ride. Word. So what else are you looking forward to this week?
So there's this cool book coming out, it's out today. It's called Islandia, as an island.
Yeah.
And this is volume 1, and it's written by a French artist and writer. His name is Marc Veidt. And this is about a young orphan from France who has all these sort of mysterious visions and like strange powers and stuff happening to him, and he learns that the place he can go to figure out what the heck all this is Iceland.
Okay, all right.
So he stows away on a fishing boat and heads on out. This also takes place in like the 1600s.
Okay.
So it's like
Right.
way back in history. And basically he's trying to figure out what the heck all this stuff is that keeps happening to him.
Right.
He goes to the island, right? To meet the mystics.
Okay, all right.
And so like these are hefty comics too. This thing is like 52 pages long.
Okay, all right.
But
yeah.
it is still a series. So this is volume 1. And I don't think it ever came out in any like smaller issues. It's coming out in like these big chunky boys.
Yeah, I mean,
which
it's
is pretty
French,
cool.
yeah. No, they definitely
The
have
translations,
Yeah,
right?
right. I mean, they have a tendency to release them as albums. I
Right.
think a lot of times, like which is
makes sense.
graphic novels, but like oversized graphic novels. So yeah, it's interesting. Like,
It's pretty cool.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now I'm actually big on French comics too right now,
Yeah.
so like I might check that one out.
Yeah, go for it.
Also this week, Jimmy Olsen, #4, Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen,
Yeah.
#4. This is a fun one. It's just a fun book. Like, I know that like Bendis is currently doing the Superman book, but you kind of get, I don't know, like after a while you kind of get bored with like the life and death power struggles, and you just want something fun and upbeat, and that's what this book is. Like, I mean, it's several different stories in one issue. So even though it's only like about 30-something pages, you feel like you get a lot when you're reading it.
Nice.
It's a quirky book for sure. And like each story like has, I'm assuming that each story will kind of like cross eventually. Like there'll be some sort of like moment where like all the plots intersect.
Sure.
But like, yeah, there's one about a murder mystery in Gotham City. There's one about his great-great-great-grandfather from Metropolis, like before Metropolis was Metropolis.
Sure.
There's one like with his brother who's in this like sort of like a bidding war with Lex Luthor. Yeah, so it's just a fun book. And I mentioned last time they did like a little bit in like number 2 where Superman promised to reveal his secret superpower.
It turns out
it was up close magic, right? Yeah, and it's just fun.
that is fun.
Yeah, it's just like, you know,
Lighthearted, right?
Right. I'm not a person that says the word adorable a lot, but it's adorable.
Oh.
So yeah, check out Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. It's actually pretty fun, and it's 12 issues, so you know it's going to like ultimately end, and it's it's a good one to pick them off tomorrow.
Yeah.
What else can people look forward to? Because those were our picks.
Yes.
But there's some big ticket items this week.
There are some big ticket items, and I'm very excited about this one
Oh, yeah.
personally. So this is Pledge Allegiance to the Mask,
Nice.
number 1. So of course the Mask started out as a comic,
Yeah.
and it is back. So it's from the showrunner of *Halt and Catch Fire* and *Hellboy's* Patrick Reynolds, and so of course it's about the Mask. They find the weird mask of unknown origin and limitless power, right? And they've all the city that this takes place in is called Edge City,
Okay.
and they've basically all forgotten about what happened the first time the Mask showed up, right? So now, decades later, the bizarre Tex Avery style killings are happening all over again, and the Mask returns.
Interesting. Okay. No, I actually, you know, this is one of those ones I think a lot of people forget that was a comic book.
Yeah.
And I actually forgot it was a comic book for a long time. But like, yeah, I actually have never read that. So I'm actually curious with what that story involves, like how different it is from the movie. So you mentioned Tex Avery style killing. So I'm like, is the Mask a bad guy? I have no idea.
I mean, he's always been, I guess, sort of like just chaos.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Which makes sense. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. No. Okay. No. I'm so curious about that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think a lot of people forget that was a comic book.
And it was like a pretty intense one.
Yeah. Right.
It was
right.
not lighthearted and goofy the way the movie is.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it was definitely more gory and dark.
Right, yeah, taking the cartoon elements and making them a little bit more bloody, like, yeah.
Yep.
So, okay, cool. Also, something to look out for this week is Robotech Remix. So it's from Brendan Fletcher. Brendan Fletcher is the guy who gave us actually Batgirl. Well, he gives the Batgirl with the new costume along with Bab Star. And so he's also done a book called Motor Crush from Image Comics,
Nice.
which has actually turned out to be very popular. Like people seem to really like that book. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Good.
And so now he's tackling Robotech, and you know, we have a trailer for it, so I'm going to show it to you guys. But the idea here is that it's not necessarily a reboot, but it is. So, yeah, so check out the trailer, and hopefully they'll do a better job explaining it than I am. But check this out, Robotech from Titan Comics. And that was the trailer for Robotech Remix #1. We did interview Brendan Fletcher, and it's actually on the website, so definitely check that out. Yeah. And he talks about the history of Robotech and how much it inspired him as a kid, and like, you know, it's but also what he's doing with this particular series. So if you're worried about like, you know, him messing with the mythos, right, of like the Robotech saga, right, he seems to be very respectful of what came before. And matter of fact, he has like it seems like a sentimental attachment to it. So, so yeah, check that out. It's out in comic shops this week. But now it's time for news.
Yes.
Okay. And Thea's here, and she's going to talk about everything that happened in the world of comics in the last 7 days. Check this out.
Hot off up The Wicked and the Divine finale, The Killing Horizon launches next summer. The Killing Horizon is the explosive new sci-fi vision from Jamie McKelvey, co-creator of The Wicked and the Divine, and Eisner Award-winning colorist Matthew Wilson, launching from Image Comics in summer 2020. The Killing Horizon takes place in the post-apocalyptic future. Far from Earth, a specialist in studying dead alien societies is embedded with a military unit to excavate a new find. She's done it before, it's good work, and it's safe. She thinks it's just another job. She's wrong. Lost and alone, deep beneath the warped skeletal spires of the millennia's dead city, she finds something powerful, something that will make her a target for every side fighting a deadly war. The Killing Horizon is perfect for fans of the likes of Descender, Sea of Stars, and Saga. Look for it in the summer of 2020. DC has released a first look at pages from next month's Legion of Superheroes #1. Welcome to the 31st century. Inspired by the acts of and lessons learned from the greatest heroes of all time, the Legion of Superheroes have gathered together to stop a galaxy from repeating its past mistakes. The greatest lineup of heroes in comic book history returns with new, fresh, and reader-friendly stories. Eisner Award-winning writer Brian Michael Bendis reteams with master artist Ryan Sook for one of the most ambitious mainstream comic books ever created. Why have the Legion of Superheroes broken the cardinal rule of the United Planets and inducted John Kent, aka Superboy, into the Legion? What are they hiding? And what does it have to do with Aquaman's long-lost trident? To find out, keep an eye out for Legion of Superheroes #1, available November 6th. IDW announced at New York Comic Con that the Clockwork Hero Kanto will return in 2020. David M. Boer and Drew Zucker's Kanto, an indie comic book sensation of 2019, will return next year with a special standalone one-shot, Kanto and the Clockwork Fairies, followed by a 5-issue Kanto miniseries. David Boer said, "For Drew and I, watching readers respond to our little tin hero has been the thrill of our careers. We always hoped Kanto's adventure wouldn't end at the top of the Emerald Tower, so we couldn't be more excited to bring readers along as Kanto navigates his expansive world and continues to fight for the freedom of his people." Keep an eye out for new Kanto coming next summer. And last but certainly not least, Powers of 10 #6 hits shelves this week, concluding the first step in Jonathan Hickman's groundbreaking new era for the world of mutants. Following that, the Dawn of X titles will explore the bold new way the X-Men operate in the Marvel Universe, beginning with Wolverine #1. Announced at the X-Men Dawn of X panel at New York Comic Con, Wolverine #1 will kick off in February, following Wolverine as he takes it upon himself to defend the new nation of Krakoa from the humans who would exploit its extraordinary resources. With a new mission comes a new creative team, and Wolverine couldn't ask for a better one to guide him in his new role. The new run will be written by Ben Percy and illustrated by legendary comic book artist Adam Kubert. Mutants may have created a paradise, but that paradise needs protecting. See Wolverine do what he does best in Wolverine #1 this February.
Yeah, and we asked a bunch of people actually last week what big New York Comic Con news was like their favorite. That was one that showed up a lot.
Yes, it was.
Also, I wanted to point out, at New York Comic Con last week, I bumped into the creator Kanto. I don't know if I told you that.
No.
And I actually told him, I was like, yeah, like Thea is a huge fan of your
Yes!
book.
That's so cool.
So yeah, he was like, thank you very much. So
good.
there you go. You never know who you're going to run into at these shows.
Yeah,
Like he was just
absolutely.
walking around with a backpack on.
Sure,
and like,
being a human.
Being a human, right. And like, yeah, I think it was Ashton introduced me to him. He's like, oh, he wrote Kanto. I was like, oh, well, funny you mention that because every time the book comes out, Thea picks it.
Very excited about it. It's adorable and perfect.
Yeah, it's good. No, I love it. So it's time for Toy Chest. Natasha's here, and then actually, well, Natasha's going to be in a video, and then when we come back, Natasha's going to be in the studio. But first, let's take a look at the toys that are available at your local comic shop this week.
Hey Previews World, Natasha here to give you a look inside the Previews Toy Chest. Let's find out what's at comic shops for the week of October 16th, 2019. not all. Before heading to your local comic shop, be sure to check out PREVIEWSworld.com/new releases. There you'll find a complete rundown of everything a toy collector could possibly want.
And that's just some of the collectibles available at your local comic shop this week. If you want more, head on over to PREVIEWSworld.com/toychest. But just so happens we have Natasha in the studio with us. What's up, Natasha?
Hi guys, how's it going?
So just like last week, we had Enemy on, and she told us some of the stuff that she saw in the cosplay world. And everybody, you guys are all cosplayers. Like, I mean, that's definitely part of it. But you're also the host of Talking Toys.
I am the host of Talking Toys.
So can you tell us a little bit about what Talking Toys is?
Sure. It is a great program where every week or so we release a new episode, and I get to show off some amazing toy statues and collectibles that are going to be hitting comic shop shelves.
Cool.
Some of them are available for pre-order. Some of them are a little ways down the way and are not even ready yet. And I kind of sometimes get my hands also on some samples, which is really exciting, especially for me because part of the reason I have this job is I'm a huge geek and fan about collectibles and toys and things like that. So being able to see some of these great items up and close and personal and then be able to share them with you. So Toy Chest News is just one way where we show you what is being released that week. But over at Talking Toys, we get to show you what's up and coming. So it's pretty cool and exciting. And being able to go to New York Comic Con was really exciting because I got to see a bunch of exclusives that no one has seen yet. So we did do a little segment, which you can find at PREVIEWSworld.com, about our kind of a walkthrough of Talking Toys, showing some really great Star Wars blend figures and our action figures and Funko and a bunch of other things, and it was really cool.
All right, and we're actually going to go ahead and show that in a second. But
oh, great.
Yeah, we're gonna
spoilers.
No, it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. But you also got to talk to some toy makers. Specifically, you got to talk to Todd McFarlane. Yeah. Like, what was that like? How was that interview?
Great. I didn't cry this time, so that's exciting.
Wait, why'd you cry? What happened?
First time I met him, I might have had a 12-year-old fangirl moment and cried, and I was a huge collector of Spawn figures and the comics, but especially the Spawn figures. I mean, all the way through the medieval to everything. I used to in fact get up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and head to, I'm from California, head to Kmart, to the 24-hour Kmart, and be there right in the toy aisle when they started unloading the stuff from the back. Yeah. Just so I could get my hands on the newest Spawn figures. So meeting Todd McFarlane for the first time was a life experience. The second time was definitely, I was a little more professional. So, so that was really nice, and he was really great, and I mean, like, asked me about my kid, like, it was really great. I'll get into a story later. I'll tell you in the comments. But no, he was really great. And we got to look at some of the figures over at the PREVIEWSworld booth that we had displayed. A lot of the exclusives and things that are not even, like, that are just now being in production. Like, for instance, the Vin Diesel action figure of Bloodshot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Which I'm like, that's a major, like, was
that's
that like
a major
spoiler?
thing. So,
like,
oops.
Well, I mean, it was on the floor, so.
Hive Mind is putting out Bloodshot, the movie, and starring Vin Diesel, and Todd McFarlane got their hands on being able to make the action figure. And this piece looks so good. I'm a huge Vin Diesel fan, like, huge Vin Diesel fan. My number was XXX forever in roller derby. Like, love Vin Diesel. And this piece, I mean, it's like a really tiny little Vin Diesel. It's amazing.
Like, it's about the smallest Vin Diesel's going to get.
Right? Yeah. It's really great. I really love the McFarlane toy line because he even mentions, I have an interview with him that we'll be showing for Talking Toys also, special episode. But he talks about, he strives for his sculptors to get the face. Yeah. Like, if you mess up the body, everything else, whatever. But if you don't nail the face, then the whole toy is a fail. And so they really put that attention to detail, and it's just a really cool action figure. And he's got, I'm not going to tell you because that'll be a spoiler, but it looks really great. The pieces look really great. We saw some other great things. You saw on Toy Chest the Trevor Belmont figure. We got to see that too at the DST booth. And it's just such a great piece. I love the whole Castlevania line.
That's a favorite on the show, I think. Between the both of us, we're big fans
stuff. It's good stuff. Like, going from video games to movies is always a lot of fun. But no, it was really great to see all the toys up and close and personal, and you'll be able to see more on Talking Toys, the special segments we have, especially with Todd McFarlane, and it was really cool. It's hard to not spend every penny that you have at a convention on these special, especially with the exclusives.
Right.
But the really long lines help you save your money because, you know.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No, I don't. You know, when you're there to do interviews and stuff, you don't have a lot of time to wait in line, which kind of sucks.
No, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
No, it does deter you for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
well, I say it deters you, but like there are people
Not
that just
always,
not
no.
everybody. No, not at all.
Yeah, if there's something you have to have, you're gonna wait.
You're gonna get
so,
it.
Yeah.
I wanted to point out you're actually you're also the host of Indie Edge.
I am the host of Indie Edge.
And so we're doing things in the not too far future. We're doing things to mix things up. And so you
Yes.
got some footage at the show
I
for
do.
this thing that we're doing for Indie Edge.
Yeah, the special spoilers.
Right, and I just wanted to point this out because there's a book this week. One of the books Thea talked about earlier was I Pledge Allegiance to the Mask.
Oh, okay.
Actually written by Christopher Cantwell.
Yeah, I interviewed him
Yeah.
at New York Comic Con. Great dude, very funny, a little bit of a potty mouth. But we got to play a game with him at the end of some of our segments, and
Nice.
you'll be able to see that later. I think this month, maybe next month. But a really great guy, really nice meeting him. He's got a comic coming out too called She Could Fly, and that's what we talked about. Yeah, really great dude, and his work is very definitely something you want to read.
All right,
So,
yeah, no, absolutely. And it's definitely it's out this week, so definitely check. Well, I Pledge Allegiance to the Mask is out, so you
Yes,
should
check it
definitely
out.
check that out. And also keep an eye out for future Indie Edge stuff.
Yes.
Because Natasha's going to be all over that, and she's got a bunch of interviews with a bunch of different creators.
I do. It was really exciting and nerve-wracking, and you know, it's really fun to learn how to say people's names too. And we got a really great segment with a particular artist who taught me how to say his name in a really fun way. So
That's the thing about comics. Like you read names for a long time, and then you meet the people in person, and you're like, oh, I butchered this my entire
right?
life.
Yeah.
Entire time.
And you feel so bad because it's like, you
Right.
know, oh, it's your name.
But we were talking before, it was
Yeah.
like, just ask them ahead of time.
Yes,
Like, when
yes.
you sit down,
Which
it's
is a
just
really
like, how do you
great
say
tip.
it?
Thank you for that. Yeah.
I'm like, they will prefer you ask them instead of just going with
Yeah.
it. So, but Natasha, thanks for coming out. Thanks for
Thanks
coming
for
here on the
having
show.
me.
Be sure to keep an eye out for Indie Edge, and also keep an eye out for Talking Toys. And you can catch Talking Toys on the YouTube channel, Toy Chess.
Yes.
And yeah, Natasha, thanks.
Thanks so much for having me.
Definitely have more of you, and I think we'll actually have you back on the show to talk about the Indie Edge interviews in the near future.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
But
yeah.
let's take a look at the Talking Toys video you did at New York Comic Con.
Yay!
So, not just a tease, we're going to show you some of the stuff that Natasha got this.
Yes,
or
you
got
get to see some of that Star Wars stuff I was talking about.
Yeah,
exciting.
absolutely. Very exciting. So
Thanks,
check this
guys.
out.
Hey everybody, what's up? I'm Natasha here for Talking Toys with a very, very special episode. We are on location at New York Comic Con, and I am so excited because this is my first time here, and this is going to be your first time seeing some great toys, collectibles, and statues that we have inside. So let's go take a look. We're here at the Tamashii Nation booth to see some amazing Star Wars action figures. Let's take a look. I cannot believe some of these, they look so cool. These are fully articulated action figures. So they're totally posable. They come with a little stand so you can set them up. They even have like awesome dioramas that you can put together. I cannot believe how amazing these are. Look at this Kylo Ren. Look how amazing this is. And look at his lightsaber. I love that they've just got like the little accents in there. I'm drooling a little bit, sorry. IG-88, look how cool. His gun is amazing. Oh my gosh. The paint application on these is just astounding. I love it when they take great fandoms and then give it a twist, and then there's still all those little intricate details. It's wonderful. We're here at Sideshow Collectibles at every Comic-Con I've ever been to. They've always had such an amazing presence. And right now we're gonna look at some of the favorites that I've noticed just walking by. So first things first, Rogue. My girl, I love her. And oh my God, this piece. This thing is about half my body size. Okay, maybe a little bit smaller. But the details on Sideshow is always just breathtaking, blown away like it's an actual tiny person. I really love it. She has an actual jacket on. Can we talk about that? It looks like she's a real costume on, and I love that about Sideshow. We're gonna come over here too. I have to show off my buddy, my pal, R2-D2. Gotta see him there, he looks awesome. Serving some drinks up, that's always a good time. And then now for the emotional part, because it's Stan Lee. So we have to come over and look if we can. There's a lot of people here, so we're gonna try to squeeze in there. I don't even know if that I have words. It's Stan Lee, it's the man, Stan the Man Lee, and they did such a great job on this piece. I'm trying not to cry. It's Stan Lee. And Sideshow, you did an amazing job. He looks so good. I love this character. I love the cameos, of course. Who doesn't love the Stan Lee cameos? But like, this is just really a fun one of like, hey, remember that time that I delivered the mail? And he's talking about Fantastic Four. I love all that stuff. I'm totally nerding out right now, but he's just great. The Arcade 1-Up at-home arcade booth, and this thing is amazing because you can go from feeling like an ant with a giant oversized arcade system all the way down through the levels to a tabletop game. This is a little different than your normal tabletop game you're used to because it's a video game and it's pretty amazing. They have Space Invaders, Street Fighter, Star Wars, Pac-Man. This stuff is so cool, and this is something that you can have in your house whether you have a lot of space or a little bit of a space. Check it out. For me here at Talking Toys. Thanks for watching this special on-location video at New York Comic Con. Don't forget, if you want to get caught up on all things New York Comic Con, head over to PREVIEWSworld.com, and I will see you later.
Men. They think they have us wrapped around their finger. They have no idea we're the ones in the saddle. We put on masks to please them, but these same masks give us power over them. It's nothing more than a game, and they don't know they're the ones being played. With but the slightest gesture, they fall at our feet. And once that happens, neither God nor family can save them. They're prey, nothing more. Even those who might fancy themselves the hunter live in constant fear of losing what little they have. Rich or poor, they all end up in the same place eventually. In a pine box, 6 feet under. Pathetic, beings. They have never been masters of eternity. Even so, their silly rituals do amuse me. Rituals like those you so stubbornly cling to, little man. But empty words and signs won't save you. Mercy, I leave to you. Because I don't have a drop left.
Did you enjoy your dinner, Lady Helene?
And that was a trailer for Mercy from Mirka Andolfo. That's coming out from Image Comics, and it's actually from the creator who gave us Unnatural, which ended up being like kind of a breakthrough hit last year. Cool. Also, the artwork's just amazing. Like, I like Unnatural's not really my thing, but I always have to pause and kind of look at the covers for it because I'm like, this is actually pretty impressive. And before that, we did a Talking Toys segment with Natasha where she showed us some of the toys at New York Comic Con. Now, of course, you can catch more Talking Toys. Just head on over to PREVIEWSworld.com/talkingtoys and check out any of the items that are available at your local comic shop or coming soon to your local comic shop. And speaking of creator-owned, because we talked about Indie Edge earlier, it just so happens that we mentioned earlier that Laura Braga participated in Inktober, and she was nice enough to hand off to us a video, a 3-minute video of her inking one of our Inktober prompts. This one was for robots, and I can never remember which day it was, but it was definitely from last week. And she was nice enough to give us like a little sample of her work. So check this out. This is Laura Braga from Blossom 666 drawing a robot for your enjoyment. Check it out. That was a little Inktober video from Laura Braga, and I actually just wanted to point out, yes, first of all, participate in our Inktober prompt. Like, it's actually a lot of fun, and surprisingly, it surprised me. A lot of people jumped in, and actually, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but I was. But also, if you're a creator and you are doing process videos, like we've put other people on the show before who've done process videos, because ultimately, we're about the comics culture, we're about the comics experience, and the comics community. Yeah. So, if that's something that you think you got what it takes, and you want to be featured on the show, like Laura was, let us know. Contact us on social media. But on top of that, if you're participating in Inktober and you're participating in the Inktober prompt from Previews, use hashtag InkedPreviews or tag us at PREVIEWSworld. And that's pretty much any platform social media wise, so definitely check that out.
Word.
But we're almost done for this week. Words, something.
It's time for something fancy.
It's time for something fancy.
It's time for a giveaway.
All right.
So this week we have this really, really cool.
That is a cool
one.
one,
You told me to stop to leave it alone.
Right.
It's really cool. This is the international edition of Watchmen, and it has this, really cool cover, which I'm not sure the camera picks it up.
Yeah, I don't think the camera
way.
can get that.
Oh yeah, there we go.
You got it? Okay, good. There you go.
So it's really cool, and the texture, which is why he told me to leave it alone, is really nice.
You kept rubbing it.
It feels really cool. All right, it's tactile.
Okay.
Anyway, if you all out there want to win this copy of Watchmen, let us know on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching. Was Adrian Veidt right?
Look at that.
And we'll take entries until next week, and we'll pick a random winner for this.
All right. And if you don't know who Adrian Veidt is, then don't even participate.
Come on, guys.
Because it's integral to the story itself. Actually, I goofed last week, and I said that the Watchmen show had aired. It actually had not.
Oh.
So that's just a little my bad from last week. Oops. But of course, this is in time for the new HBO series on top of everything else.
Even says it on the cover.
Even says it on the cover. So check that out. But also, we got to give a shout out to last week's winner, right?
Yes, we do. So last week's winner of the New York Comic Con bundle is Oren Twig, who said that they're most excited about the announcement of the new Wolverine ongoing series with Adam Kubert as the artist, again after so many years.
Nice, yeah. And I'm right there with you, Oren. Like, that was my Wolverine, Adam Kubert. That's kind of when I really started to actually take to the character.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are excited about that. Also, he just draws a great Wolverine.
Fact.
So yeah, I'm all for that. I also want to point out, we're going to be at Baltimore Comic Con this weekend.
We are.
And actually, normally all of us aren't really present for like these bigger conventions, but this one we're all going to be there. Like Thea will be there on a different day, Natasha will be there on a different day. I don't know if Mia might be kicking around at some point in time, I'm not sure. Everybody except for Gretchen, I think, is going to be there. But Johnny and I will be there as well. Yay! And it's cool because this is the 20th anniversary of Baltimore Comic Con.
Yes, it is.
This is
very
a
exciting.
20-year tradition. And it's really cool that they're still kicking and going, and like they have a bunch of special guests. If you're in the Baltimore area, you should definitely check it out. And we're going to be doing prizes. We're going to be doing creator interviews, like in person, like actually at the convention. So you might be able to see us like actually working, which is terrifying. And we're going to be also doing games with some of the attendees and asking some of the attendees questions. So especially if you're in cosplay, you might want to come by. We might have some you might be able to get on camera, and we might have some goofy questions for you. So. Definitely, meet us, come by.
Yep.
And last but not least, comic shop shout out.
Fact.
Yes.
Of course, comic shop shout out. If you want to have your favorite local comic shop shouted out on the show, let us know what they are. Use the hashtag #SupportYourLCS and you could get a feature. This week, we're going to be leaving you with photos of Geek Geek Nerd Nerd in Redmond, Oregon, sent in by Gwen Hunter.
Every time I think of Duck Duck Goose.
Exactly, I was thinking that. I was like, just take one of the nerds off and then it's funny. Geek Geek Nerd.
Geek Geek Nerd.
Duck Duck News.
We should play that at like
Duck,
a convention
Duck
or
News.
something.
That was great.
Geek Geek Nerd.
Geek Geek Nerd.
But that's it for us this week.
It's true.
So thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks to Natasha for joining us. Thanks for Laura Braga again for like giving us something cool to present to you guys.
Absolutely.
And I'm one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I'm Thea, and we'll see you at the Spinner Rack.
Thanks for watching Previews World Weekly. If you like the show, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes.